What's going on YouTube? So when it comes to American muscle cars, there's long been a war between them, especially when it comes to power. That's why after a very long time, Dodge is finally introducing this all-new version of the Charger muscle car, and it's aiming straight for the top of the horsepower charts. So with up to 670 horsepower and a classic retro muscle car design, is this the muscle car you should pick over the Mustang? Well, let's go ahead, find out. So a great place to start out is with the exterior design. Now, Dodge really emphasized that they wanted this next generation Charger to really look like an authentic Dodge. And I think they really nailed that formula because you're gonna notice that you've got a lot of retro cues. It still does have that classic muscle car appearance on board, but it's also modernized at the same time. So when you're looking at the front end design, obviously, it is a very wide vehicle. It's about 2 inches wider than the previous Challenger model. And as you can see, you've got this grille that's going to go all across the front end here. As Mason's kind of looking, we might as well go ahead and talk about one of the big elements of this front end design, and that's the fact that we've got this front spoiler. This is designed to create a lot of downforce. So you're going to see plenty of airflow go right through here and up over the hood. Now, another big element of the front end design comes with our lighting. So you'll notice that we've got a LED light bar that's going to run all across the entire front. Also with the headlights themselves, these are reflector LEDs, that is standard equipment. You also have a LED turn signal indicator right through there. And then highlighting right here in the very center to top everything off, we've got that new logo. This is the Frat Zog logo, and this is also illuminated. Now I should mention, as far as the models, this Daytona Charger is going to be available in RT and Scat Pack. This is the RT trim. It will come standard with 18-inch alloys. We have the available 20-inch alloys on board with this one. 20s will also come standard with the Scat Pack. And I want to also talk a little bit about the tires. Of course, you can get super high performance tires. They're staggered width, so they're much wider in the back, really helping you put all that power down. And then finally, when you want to come to a stop, you have available high performance Brembo brakes. Now you've got your RT branding right there on the side. And as far as our mirrors, we've got a nice gloss black finish. They have standard heating and blind spot monitoring.
Now here at the side of the new Charger, there's quite a lot to talk about. You may notice, just based on me standing next to it, that this looks like a really long vehicle, and indeed, it is very long. 206.6 inches long. So for reference, that's only about 4 to 5 inches shorter than a Tahoe. So it's a very big vehicle. And I do want to also point out that it's available in 2-door, as you see today, and it will also in the future be available in a 4-door configuration that will also be exactly the same length. It's just basically adding that extra door. Now, as far as some of the other design elements, you do have a standard black roof on every single Charger model. We have the optional glass roof as well. And then as we head around to the rear design, once again, you're going to see that classic Dodge Challenger and Charger look of Chargers of the past, and it's fully modernized this year. I really like the way it looks here in person. You will notice that we do not have a spoiler. That's standard on the Scat Pack model. You get a blacked out spoiler up top. And then as far as our taillights are concerned, they're very cool and 3-dimensional. They're also going to be a full LED design as well. So you have LED turn signal, LED reverse light, and your brake light as well. And then as we drop down to the lower fascia, this is where it really gets quite cool. So down here we have some Daytona branding because that is the model that we have on today's example. Additionally, you'll notice that we have Fratzonic branding, and there's a reason for that because we actually have a Fratzonic chambered exhaust system. Even though this is an electric vehicle, it makes noise. You can probably hear that now, and Dodge says this is just as loud as a Hellcat. Let's take a listen. Now, Now, Dodge knows with a muscle car, sometimes you can get yourself in a little bit of a hairy situation. And that's why they've added every single safety system as standard equipment this year. So that's certainly a nice touch to even have things like adaptive cruise control. But guys, let's go ahead and check out the inside because there's a lot to dive in there. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the interior now. First, here's the key fob. As you can see, we've got a kind of cool carbon fiber background for our Dodge branding. This is their typical smart entry system, which is standard, and you also have the ability to remote start the vehicle. And then as far as the door handle, this is a flush mount door handle, so actually you reach behind here, you'll find a little touchpad, and that's what will unlock the door. Now, taking a look at the inside, you'll notice that just like with the exterior, you really have a lot of kind of retro design cues that harken back to the previous models, but also fully modernized. But first of all, I do want to go ahead and just talk about the seats. So standard is going to be a cloth seat. However, if you get the Plus package, that is what's going to upgrade you to this leatherette. As you can see, nice realistic feel to this and good look to it as well. Perforation in the middle. We have color contrast stitching. This is just the standard black option for a more subtle look, but if you want to really dial things up a lot and go for a super bold look, then you can also get what Dodge is calling demonic red. So obviously that is really going to spice up the interior quite a lot. The seats themselves are going to be 10-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support. We also have memory seats on the Plus models, and you can get a performance seat on the Scat Pack. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And as I reach over here and close up this super long door, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the cabin materials. So Dodge really elevated things a lot over the previous generation. Beginning over here on our door trim, we have soft leatherette all through here with the two-tone stitching detail. More leatherette will cover the top part of the door trim, as well as the vast majority of the upper dashboard, again with the double color stitching. More leatherette through here, and we even have some padding along the center console here for your knee to rest against. Overall build quality feels pretty solid as well, and this is a pre-production model. Now, to fire it up, we have this really cool push button start located right there. That sonic exhaust is pretty crazy. It actually vibrates the interior. It's so loud when this vehicle gets started up. All right, so let's get into some individual details of the cabin. As always, we like to begin things with our gauge cluster. So standard on this model at the RT level will be a 10.25-inch digital gauge cluster. However, if you get the Plus model or if you get the Scat Pack, you will get a standard 16-inch gauge cluster. That's what you're looking at right now. It's really, really big. It has a lot of fully customizable graphics as well. So you'll notice when you change drive modes, for example, I'll pop it into sport, you get these really cool animations, and the design completely shifts depending on which drive mode you're in. Now, in addition to that, the Plus models will also include a very large head-up display with some more performance information. Pulling back to the steering wheel, this is one of my favorite parts of the interior. We've got this really cool squared off steering wheel on the top and the bottom. It is of course going to be leather wrapped. Heating is standard, and we also have the available power adjustment feature. And before I move on, I do want to mention one more thing. You might have noticed this button right here, Power Shot. If you press that, you get 40 additional horsepower temporarily. Now, let's talk about interior storage though, because I think you'll be super surprised by how much storage you find, not just here, but really through the rest of the cabin. As you can see, lots of space. We could fit plenty of donuts inside of there. We don't have them with us though here in Phoenix, Arizona. We've got our 2 cup holders up front, more storage. This is a wireless phone charging pad here on the right side. Now, as far as the shifter, you got this brand new kind of pistol-shaped shifter. Pull back for drive physically, go up for reverse. When you go into reverse, our Plus models will come with this 360-degree camera system. Very impressive resolution on board. You got a lot of different views that you can choose between as well. And then right behind that is where you have your electronic parking brake. As we continue our tour up, next place we come to is our row of climate controls. This is a dual zone automatic setup. You adjust your temperature quite easily just by pressing these buttons here. These are kind of touch sensitive, but they do have haptic feedback and actually wiggle a little bit when you press on them, and you can make additional adjustments inside of this comfort menu right there on the screen. As you can see, we do have heated and ventilated seats on board as well, and you can adjust those with the menus over there on the side. And another knob you have over there is your volume knob for the audio system. So you'll always have a standard audio system that's from Alpine. It either has 9 speakers or you'll double that to 18 speakers with the Sun and Sound package. That's what we have. Let's give it a sample. Yeah, overall sound quality is quite good. Certainly fills up the cabin nicely. Okay, let's get into some other technology. So you notice that kind of angle towards the driver, we've got a new display. This is a 12.3 inch display. This part will feel a little bit familiar because this is the same as other Stellantis products. It's got Uconnect 5.0. That means you have simple menus right over there. You also have features that a lot of people are looking for, like wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. You have additional performance applications inside of the display as well. And then one of the things I want to talk about that you can adjust inside of the display is called the attitude adjustment lighting. So basically, if you're in a bad mood, Dodge says adjust that attitude. Go ahead and match this lighting to whatever you want. You got 64 different colors you can choose from. It also changes when you change different drive modes as well. And as you can see, it kind of illuminates over this textured pattern that runs all across the dash and down the door trim. It looks really, really cool at night. It's really a nice touch to this interior. Up top here, we've got an auto dimming mirror. And then part of the Sun and Sound package I mentioned earlier is the fact that we've got the available full panoramic sunroof. Just be aware there is no sunshade, and obviously it does not open up as well.
And now let's go ahead and talk about the practicality when it comes to this charger. Now, you heard me on the outside say that it's 206 inches long, which is really, really long. And one of the cool things about it is that the 4-door version is actually the same as this 2-door. So that means when I fold this seat up and allow it to slide out of the way, you're going to notice a really, really quite large back seat area in this Charger, even in this 2-door form. Now, I'm going to go ahead and climb back there so you can see what it's like for someone who is 5'9", like myself. Wow. So sitting back here in this Dodge Charger, we have a ton of space. Now, Dodge did give us some official measurements. About 37 inches of legroom is what you can expect. Also about 37 inches of headroom. So very impressive figures. That does go once more for the 4-door version as well. And as far as behind Drew's 5'8" seating position, I'm 5'9". As a reminder, 8.5 inches of knee room is what you can expect, which is phenomenal for a coupe. I can also slide my feet up underneath of the seat, and the seats themselves I do find to just be really quite comfortable. It honestly kind of feels like I'm in a sedan. Now, as we look at this middle seat, we do have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders inside. You could fit 3 people back here. And as far as features are concerned, we're going to have quite a few. We have standard vents here in the center section. Also, we have heated rear seats if you choose a Plus model. And we also have 2 charging USB ports. So overall, I'd say that even if you have a family and you're going to be pretty routinely using the rear seats, this Charger is not going to be too bad at all. Now, typically with coupes, as you approach them, you're not going to find this right here. We actually do have a hatchback style, so this entire part is going to lift up and reveal a ton of space. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but because of that overall vehicle length, we have so much room back here. About 23 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. And if we fold those seats down, Dodge says that this will have about 37 cubic feet of maximum cargo capacity. That is absolutely absurd for a 2-door coupe. Of course, the sedan, I expect to have very similar figures as well. Now, as far as some of the features, you will notice that we have a nice carpeting along the floor. We also have a little bit of additional space underneath of here. You do not have a spare tire, so keep that in mind. The seats do fold 60-40 split to maximize your space. They're not any handles, so I will have to go up to the second row to fold them down. And when I do that, that allows me to get out my tape measure, because this is a Car Confections review after all. And in all of our reviews, we get our cargo length, width, and height figures in case you're looking to haul something. Now, typically this wouldn't be a good area for a two-door, but holy crap, about 84 inches of length in this Charger behind the seat adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". 46 inches behind the second row of seats. As far as overall cargo width, about 39 inches is what you can expect, and cargo height is going to come in at about 23 inches from the widest point. Now, do keep in mind, if you get down here to the end, you're going to be looking at about 6 inches of height, so definitely a sloping roof design, so you won't be able to stack a ton of stuff up, but this thing is incredibly practical. Really, I can't think of a two-door coupe that has more space than this.
Now, you heard me say right from the beginning that this vehicle is about a lot of big numbers, and let's get into some of those big numbers. Now, first of all, I popped the hood. As you can see, we don't have an internal combustion engine. As we already stated, the Daytona is an electric model, so that means that we do actually have a frunk. It's reasonably sized. You can fit things inside of that, like a charge cable or something like that. But let me get into the actual numbers. So the base RT Daytona is still going to be making insane power. So it is going to have 456 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. That's going to be via a 100.5 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack. Now, if you choose the Scat Pack, you're going to keep the same battery pack, but the performance is going to jump up substantially. We're going to be looking at 630 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. So this is taking the mantle as the most powerful muscle car in the industry. That's even quite a lot more than, say, like the Mustang Dark Horse, for example. And that's before you even push the power shot button, which is going to bump your power by another 40 horsepower for 10 seconds. Now, how fast is that going to get you to 60 miles an hour? Well, Dodge says that will get you to 60 in 3.3 seconds. So that is actually even faster than the Demon Red Eye that was previously out. Very, very impressive stuff on board. I also want to take a second to mention that upcoming, you do have those six-pack models, which are inline-six powered vehicles. We do have power figures for those right now. That's going to begin at 420 horsepower for the standard output, and then there'll be a high output version which will make 550 horsepower. So you'll have great power whether you choose internal combustion or electric power. Now let me return back to this Daytona for a second and get into some more features of this. Now this does have standard dual motor all-wheel drive to put the power down. However, you can actually disconnect the front electric motor, allowing for drifts and burnouts. Another thing I want to mention is just the fact that you've got those three major drive modes that we were showing off on the inside, including the track and drag strip drive modes. You also are going to have dual valve adaptive dampening when you choose the track pack, with the Scat Pack with the track package, excuse me. And as far as the chassis, you're looking at much more rigid than the previous generation. This is actually 50% more rigid than the outgoing model because of the chassis and the extra structural integrity from that battery pack. Now, you heard all the numbers. I know what you want. You want to see that performance in practice. However, we wanted to show you guys the exterior and interior of this radical new model out here in the daylight as soon as possible. You will have to wait just a little while longer to see those actual driving impressions. We're really going to put this to the test on December 12th. So 12/12, that is when you're going to be able to come back to our channel and see the driving impressions of this impressive machine. I know you're going to want to check that out, so make sure you set your calendar. But for now, out of respect for our fellow journalists as well as Dodge, we'll certainly be respecting that embargo.
And let's talk about pricing for this Dodge Charger. So we start at $59,595, and this is for the Daytona version, so the electric Chargers. A little under 60 grand is your starting point. If you want one with all the options, like what we have today, you'll be looking at an upper $60,000 price point. The Daytona Scat Pack starts at $73,190, and if you want all the options on that, you will be into the $80,000 range, so keep that in mind. We don't have official pricing yet for the inline 6 variants, so keep that in mind. Now, if you're looking to buy a Dodge Charger or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Dodge Charger Daytona's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 55.1% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 25.2%. Now, it is worth noting that's actually a pretty good resale value by percentage. That's above industry average. However, due to this being an electric vehicle, that does sometimes affect your resale value differently than other vehicles in their lineup.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Dodge is rated above the overall industry average for all vehicle makes. Of course, as Mason was saying, though, this is an all-new product, so it is ground up completely different from all the vehicles they have been making in the past.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about all of our reliability and resale rankings, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And lastly, let's talk about availability if you're looking to buy one of these Dodge Chargers. Now, the good news is that if you want a Daytona 2-door coupe, that is available starting now. So you'll be able to go to your Dodge dealer and pick one of these up. Now, if you're wanting a 4-door variant, that will be available in early 2025 for the Daytona electric version. If you're waiting on the inline 6 variants, those will be coming later in 2025 according to Dodge. So I'd expect a Q2 or later availability for those models. Now, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our part 1 of our Dodge Charger Daytona review. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this. You're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.